This past year, I had moments that defined my journey and connected me to something greater than myself. Moments that made it clear my life was never meant to end where it almost did. I always believed my story was something to survive, not something to carry forward. Addiction narrowed my world until the only goal was getting through the day. Legacy felt like something reserved for other people who had built something stable and worth remembering. My legacy will be shaped by the choices I make and the way I respond to pain, and whether I turn toward responsibility or away from it. It's my willingness to be honest about what has happened to me and what I have done, but not to let that define where I'm going. It's me choosing to show up fully, even when it's uncomfortable. It's me refusing to reduce my legacy to one moment or action. I will not let addiction define me. Addiction is not simple. It is not just a failure of will or a lack of discipline. It is pain, disconnection, the environment, biology, and everything we don't want to look at, layered together until it becomes something overwhelmingly suffocating. And when we misunderstand it, we don't just let down ourselves, we let down our families and entire communities. That's part of what I hope this book can challenge. What saved me wasn't punishment or being told I had to change or face consequences. It was being seen. It was people meeting me where I was, without reducing me to what I had done. It was the rare kind of compassion that doesn't excuse behavior, but also doesn't strip away humanity. That kind of response is not common, but it should be. If we want things to change, we have to be willing to rethink what recovery looks like. We have to allow space for different paths. We have to recognize that healing doesn't always follow the structure we expect it to. We have to listen to the people who have lived it. There is knowledge and lived experience that is valuable and needs to be embedded into care. Recovery is not one size fits all. My recovery is not the same as anyone else's. Many people in recovery will criticize my path because I do not live totally drug abstinent, and I do not condemn drugs as bad. I believe the effects of drugs are dependent on the relationships we create with them. My relationship with opiates is toxic, therefore I choose not to use them. But opiates are of critical importance in medical care today. My story highlights that they can also be extremely destructive. We need to challenge our preconception of drugs. The fears we were taught when we were in school only create stigma and perpetuate the issue. Drugs demand our deepest respect. They are powerful and should not be used lightly. But in the right context, they can be forces, not of destruction, but of creation and healing. Part of my story is about learning to respect and utilize substances with intention in a way that enriches my sober life, rather than depending on substances to numb suffering. I find myself now at a point where the past is no longer something I'm trying to escape, but something I'm trying to understand, integrate, and use. I think about what it means to build something that lasts. A conversation that shifts something, a story that makes someone feel less alone, a different way of thinking that opens a door where there wasn't one before. That's the kind of legacy I care about. One that moves towards something meaningful and invites others to do the same. I don't believe it's my job to save anyone. I do believe it is my responsibility to be honest about what I have lived through and to use it in a way that might help someone else find their footing, even if it's just enough to make them pause, reconsider, or hold on a little longer. Sometimes that's all it takes. A moment, a shift, a different perspective, and everything begins to change. For a long time, I thought change had to come from something outside of me. A breakthrough, a single moment powerful enough to undo everything that came before it. Like I'd show up to therapy one day and my therapist would have me all figured out and have the solution as well. What I've learned is that change is slower and more internal than that. It happens in the decisions we make every day. That's what this past year has shown me, that my life is not defined by where it broke, but by what I choose to build afterward.